If you wrote the script for the year 2020, it would sound like this.
2020 has stolen a huge part of my life.
Trying to see the positive in all of this is extremely hard.
The anti-maskers, the non-believers.
And who better to tell it than those who lived it?
In 2020, I lost 6 family members due to COVID.
For Blanca, the brightness of Christmas is dulled by the death of nearly an entire generation of her family. 5 over a span of 3 weeks, including her mother.
She wasn't any typical mom. She was everybody's mom.
They all died from a virus that spread the globe. Grief spread with it.
When I'm by myself, that's a whole different story.
And you're just hanging by a thread.
Stan Penn of McKinney has a different story.
In 2020, I closed 2 businesses.
Also closing the door on dozens of his employees.
It was a very, very sad day.
We all fought the virus. He also fought state orders and shutdowns.
That's it.
He says he felt more like a pawn than a person.
It was almost like a game only our elected leaders knew what the rules were.
Need to go do something.
It's one thing to work the front lines of a pandemic.
I think it was like a 1,600-bed hospital.
It is entirely something else to do it at the epicenter.
Everybody was COVID. In 2020, I'm a frontline nurse during the pandemic.
Courtney volunteered to leave Texas and go to New York.
Longest 5 weeks ever.
Treating COVID patients caught between discharges and death.
What does it take for you to realize this isn't fake?
2020 was the year none of them envisioned.
I just feel like she went on vacation.
But also this year, injustice is the virus we cannot seem to cure.
The world stopped and the world has remained still
The year we saw the unjust deaths.
since that very moment.
Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Amber Carr still mourns her sister Tatiana Jefferson.
Put your hands up, show me your hands.
Shot and killed by a Fort Worth officer in her own home.
You feel anger, frustration, sadness,
They all had a seat at the table this year. Imagine you're here too.
But my mom was so full of life.
I feel for you. I'm so sorry for your loss.
I feel like it's been the slowest, longest, but fastest year.
total roller coaster.
Yeah.
Not the up and down,
Yeah.
like the loop-de-loop, around and around.
I just pray every day that it ends.
Here we can sit and share and bond over that script.
I lost my mother.
Over the year that served up more than we had an appetite for.
Whatever you do, don't set it to 2020. That's a Back to the Future reference.
The Google doctors and the anti-vaxxers.
2020, please be over.
I would like to just throw this whole year away.
The year that took many of us to our breaking point. We call this flipping the script. Smash and Bash is all the rage right now.
That felt great.
A place out of Fort Worth where people can vent.
For 2020.
Anti-maskers.
This is for my children.
Our 4 guests happily agreed.
It was like a boiling point. Everything that we're going through mentally.
2020 was the year that nearly broke us. For a moment, we hit back. Depending on what next year serves up, we might need a bigger table.
The Irish have a saying that everything's okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end.
In Fort Worth,
This is for 2020.
I'm Jobin Panicker.